What does your kill count say about you? Well, that's what this video is all about. It's not meant to cause offence, but if it does, well, that's just a happy coincidence. Enjoy this quality gameplay in the background, and let's begin. So if your kill count is under 1000, you're just a noob. I'm not saying that as an insult, it's purely as a descriptive fact. It probably takes no more than a week to get over 1000 kills, so essentially, this breed of player is either just playing for the first time, or they're utterly hopeless at the game. You do have to spend a significant-ish amount of time to get out of this zone, which means it's mostly full of people who haven't played before, which means they are easy pickings in a fight. They're essentially walking stamina banks. If you ever get low, you can always just kill one of these players with ease, and you will be regenerated, ready for an actual fight. They are critical for the game to function though, because without them everybody would just be a sweaty nerd. So I think we should all be a little bit more appreciative of the noobs when we see them in game, as we are basically just kill farming them, but they don't really realise that. Now, if you have between 1000 and 3000 kills, you have basically just emerged from the chrysalis of being a noob. You're basically getting a bit more confident, backing yourself in the odd duel every now and then, but you do still lose them, but you just think that you actually have a chance before you lose. On the whole, these players are respectable members of the community, as they aren't quite delusional enough into thinking that they are unbeatable, like some of the later groups are, but then again, they aren't actually unbeatable like some of the later groups are. This is a stage in the Saber Showdown life cycle that is sort of an unavoidable stepping stone of progression rather than a group of its own. The people who make it out of the noob group into this one are probably sort of dedicated to the game, so they don't stay in this phase for long, but they are mostly pleasant while they're passing through. Alright, now we have reached the top of the slippery slope into annoyance. These players have begun to prove themselves as half competent at the game, so naturally this surpasses about 90% of the player base. And this newfound power starts to go to their head a bit. Their skill level hasn't really changed from the previous tier, but their mindset most certainly has. This is the stage of the game where they're trying to form dictatorships reminiscent of late 1930s Germany. The fact that it rarely works out for them doesn't actually seem to be an issue, because in the 1% of times when they do manage to get their backsides onto a virtual throne for any prolonged period of time, they proceed to go on the fattest power trip imaginable. They assign bodyguards, they're ordering hits on people they don't like, they establish councils and votes only to ignore them, because where's the fun in democracy? And most of all, they never actually fight themselves. Most of the people in the server can beat them, but somehow they've managed to build just a solid wall of noobs in front of them to swarm anybody coming at them like a Skarmy against a P.E.K.K.A in Clash Royale. This is the era that villains are born in. They haven't fully fledged into what they may later become. They're just dipping their toes into all the annoying things you can do in Saber Showdown. Players that have between 5000 and 10,000 kills can be straight up villains. It's probably about a 50-50 split at this point, with half just trying to play the game in chill, and the other half are out here trying to commit some serious war crimes. Unfortunately, they have now learned how to fight pretty well, probably because they have discovered the DubR YouTube channel, and they've used this to step up their organised crime in the lobbies. Quite often there will be 2 or 3 of them, sometimes in a voice call, and they just roam servers, loop killing anyone worse than them, and giving it a load of the yappa yappa to anyone who looks at them even a little bit funny. The defining feature of this stage is, as I just touched on, the fact that they will go to any lengths to avoid being in a 1v1 with somebody their own level, or God forbid, even better than them, because their fragile ego can't stand to lose a duel, so the only way to avoid this is to only attack noobs. And as an added bonus of having this posse around them, if a competent player does step up on them, they've always got the power of numbers to, get a jammy kill off or two, because they need this backup to avoid it being a fair fight. As I said, this is probably about half the players at this level, but as the ones that do exist are just so despicable, it seems like a lot more. Right, if you have between 10k and 30k kills, you are probably just mindlessly playing at this point. I am well informed of this group because I'm in it, so no soul can argue with me in the comments, although, you know, I reckon a few will try. The novelty of just going absolutely berserk on anyone you see has pretty much worn off by this point, so players in this category tend to be a little bit more chill. Quite often they will play by defending a specific location on the map. Sometimes it's paired with a small power trip of sitting on a throne, but this is rarely. That novelty's normally worn off by now. Usually they are only casually playing, not getting too worked up about anything, just vibing alone, and usually smoking anyone that starts a fight with them. It's sort of a grey zone of Saber Showdown progression. There isn't much incentive to grind kills. They have the saber that they want, but they're away off the leaderboard, so there's nothing to do. They're just chilling without a care in the world. They're also the funniest and most handsome in real life, I've heard, but you know, that might just be me single-handedly pulling up the average. I'm not too sure. I need to do more research to give you a conclusive answer. Alright, this is a random editor DubR input here, but what is going on in the chat? Hang on, let me zoom into it. Who is this guy and why has he just randomly decided to start smoking me? I don't think I've even fought him. But I don't know what happened, but he is not happy with me. Alright, I just thought I'd draw your attention to that. I found it funny, so you know, maybe you will. So if you fall into this category, then I feel sorry for you. It's likely that you've spent many months of your precious life playing this game and you're on the final stretch to the global leaderboard and all the recognition and praise this deserves. But you're not quite there yet, so for now you remain a loser in the eyes of everybody who sees you. I'm only joking, mostly. It's mainly normal people in this section, but this is definitely as far as the normal people get. I believe if you've achieved this level, I believe you can achieve this level just by casually playing. But it's definitely been a whole lot of casual playing. I now extend a helping hand of advice to the ordinary gamer who is in this category. Turn back now, because I'm serious when I say the gloves are off for these last two categories and you do not want to be associated with them. You've had a good run, but I think you should consider hanging up the old saber before it's too late. Speaking of too late, if your kill count is above 50,000, you're going to need to buckle in, because I am taking no hostages in these last two sections. This is turning into a full-on Sunday roast. In this category, I basically consider you a leaderboard player. I know you technically need to have about 55k kills, but who's getting caught up in the details other than the people who, you know, write whole essays in the comments about how I'm a moron and unqualified to give people advice? Anyway, if you fall into this bracket, you're basically an apprentice sweat. You probably shower maybe once a week, but you most definitely do not know the feel of a crisp wind across your face, and no, a revolving desk fan is just as much of a replacement for a fresh spring breeze as walking to the fridge is considering exercise. Now, before you all go and get offended and call me names in the comments, I said you're apprentice sweats. You might not have fully mastered this level of unhygiene yet, but by all means continue your comment, because then we will all see who took this to heart and therefore who it applies to. Hehe, I've got you in checkmate now. Now, at the time of recording, there are only 6 players in the whole wide world who fit into this category, so statistically speaking, I can safely assume none of them are watching, so I can literally say whatever I like about them. Anyone with this many kills is either a cheat or such a sweaty nerd, it genuinely makes me a little bit nauseous to think about it. Their breath absolutely smells like pickled onion monster munch 24/7, and there is a good chance that they only ever consider taking a shower once there are literal mushrooms growing on them and they get declared as a biohazard. I'm going pretty hard on these people, not because I'm jealous, but because I don't think any of them are watching, so there's literally no consequences for my actions. If you are somehow in this category, then what are you doing? Either go back to Saber Showdown and carry on farming noobs or cheating or however you've got this many kills, or go take a shower. The whole world will literally thank you for it. This is where I have to leave it for today, because that's what your kill count says about you. If this mortally offended you, please let me know in the comments. It amuses me very, very much when that happens. If you think you got off lightly in this video and you think you can take another beating, then here's another video similar to this one, only it's about what the saber you use says about you. That's all from me. Bon voyage, Meld Cream Crackers.